definitely need. And what do you think, or do you have a prediction how much time it will take until the other companies like adjust and can provide like this user experience which will be like satisfying and positive?
Okay, I don't have kind of a predictive date in the future,
Hmm.
of course in the future.
But would you say like
But
5 years, 10 years,
I think firstly what's
15?
happened with blockchain technology now is that and it's what's happened recently with a lot of the projects that probably should never have really been financed, and some didn't even get off the, they got financed and didn't even come out with MVPs, let alone products. It's not great for the people involved, but reality is that we needed it in the industry. I
Hmm.
think we're getting to a stage now where we're in the, we're maturing, and because there's not as much funding around and all the FOMO's gone, it's harder to get financed, and you've got
Hmm.
to have a real use case. I mean, so that means that it's harder. And point of me saying all this is that in my mind, this is just technology. Yes, it's great, and but where is blockchain very, very useful? What use case? What end use case? Right now, just to step back from that, if you look at, say, I don't know, artificial intelligence
Hmm.
and AI. Now, in a lot of modern cars, there's a lot of AI, right? But how many people will go to a showroom or buy a car or whatever, however they buy it, doesn't matter, or even like look at, start the process of looking for a car and say, oh, I want to find out what AI is in there, who made it, how good it is. That doesn't happen. You could say the same thing about a mobile phone. I mean, okay, probably you, me, and some people watching this are a bit more techie than the average, or not average, most users of phones. But
Hmm.
in reality, what do most users want? Well, they want it to take a great photo. Um, so that's what it wants to do, make a great photo. They want it to have been able to run the apps that they want, so that be social media, whatever it may be, fast and work well. And they probably want a nice screen, but that's it really. Oh, and then depending on who you are, going back to the discussion about Apple or Android, they might want to have a nice color with a shiny apple with a bite taken out of it, right?
Hmm.
But that's really it. And they want to make, maybe make some phone calls and things. But there's various things that it has to do. But nobody really talks about, oh, it's got this processor, it's running on this power, it's got this screen, this resolution. Um, I mean, Apple only now started talking about having, wireless charging. I mean, I was using wireless charging on an old on a phone back in 2012. But that's me. My point here is that I think, going back to your question, is that I don't think it's necessarily going to be, I mean, with the exception of maybe DeFi, and even that, I think we're seeing more and more recognition from the builders of DeFi. I call it like the DeFi 2.0, the evolution of
Hmm.
DeFi. I think they're seeing that now and saying, well, we've got to make it simpler for people to use because it's far too complicated. And because if it's simpler to use, we're going to get more users. And if we get more users, we have more, utility of the token. We have, which drive towards revenue. And this is what we're seeing now as well. We didn't have for the last 2 years at least. And let's not go to the years before that, from
Hmm.
16, 17. But now it's like, okay, fine. So how are you going to get traction? And how are you going to get revenue? And it's proper business discussions. That discussion is moving forward, that you're not going to have mass users unless you've got a real use case. And if you've got a
Yes.
real use case, it's got to be something that's easy to use. Going back to what I mentioned about AI and cars and telephones and that technology, is that I think what we need to be looking at is we don't right now, there's, because it's the way we are in the evolution of blockchain. It's builders talking to builders. Whereas I think what's going to happen from next year and going forward is we're going to see, well, here's a problem, and blockchain solves that really, really well. Apply the blockchain, but no one talks about the blockchain.
Hmm.
No one says it's on Polygon, or it's using ZK, or it's zero proofs of knowledge. No one is going to talk about it. They're just going to say, here, the problem's solved, user. Whether that's consumer, whether that's enterprise or industry, or whatever. It's just, we've solved the problem. It works really, really well. And someone might say, how's it do that? I go, well, it does this and this. And then they say, that sounds like blockchain. So it is. But you don't, you start with the problem and the solution. You say, here, it's fixed, it's running. And
Hmm.
then, so I think that's the way we should go. And that's really what's happened in the past. Okay. I mean, again, who picks up their telephone now and says, wow, this is great, it's got the internet on it, and the data's just using the internet, right? We don't talk about the internet being the vehicle that's making the apps get the data and the APIs. We talk about APIs, and we've got. I think that's where we're going to be going forward. From now really, next year,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the liquidity squeeze, because great projects are going to get funded, and are going to not just get funded but get users, and get adoption. And I think those projects won't be talking about blockchain. They'll be talking about the problem and just solving a problem. Here's a solution. It happens really quickly. And it happens to have blockchain baked into it somehow.